Hello and welcome to Who Are You? We're a reasonably well done sci-fi watchcast by a couple of friends who are going through 2004 Battlestar Galactica. My name is Laura, and we are on season 1, episode 11, Colonial Day.
Colonial Day.
I have a really big trigger warning for this one, guys. Trigger warning, politics.
Yeah, right. Yikes.
Yikes. Don't like.
I am gonna make some jokes that might make you uncomfortable, listener, and I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I also have no self-control nor responsibility. So, fuck it.
Yeah,
That's not true.
you are kind of responsible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm responsible as a person. I'm not responsible for the current situation of
No,
politics.
no. That's true. I get what you're saying now. Okay.
And I try to be responsible.
Yeah. No, I mean, this show I never expected to be fully like escapism,
Yeah,
but still, I was like very uncomfortable this whole episode. Like, oh, I don't want to think about any of this.
this will be uncomfortable. Um, it will get worse
I can
before it
tell.
gets
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Um, which, hey, also just true, generally speaking.
But okay, if we want to just dive right in, we don't
Yeah.
really have cold open stuff planned, right? So,
No. We need to really sit down and see what we could possibly fucking do. Listeners, if you have ideas for some cold opens
yeah.
that don't involve things like character arcs that haven't happened, or decks of cards that might reveal who a Cylon is on accident.
Right.
Anything that we could do that would keep the spoiler-free nature. I would love to get some of that stuff going. So if you got any ideas, let us know, and we'll bring it up in the Discord. Hey, the Discord. We're plugging the Discord early this time. Get in the Discord
Yeah.
and go ahead and throw us some ideas for cold opens, because we were talking about it earlier in the Discord today, and I'm just all like, look, guys, I got nothing. And it's
Yeah.
true. So if you got something, let's hear it. I want to
Yeah.
know.
Happy to. If you're afraid that it might need any level of secrecy, run it by Xhafer first.
Yeah, you can throw it in spoiler town.
Yeah. I'm not there.
Yeah, I can be all like, ooh, but what about this? So, anyways, we
Yeah.
open on a
Oh,
recording
no.
of Pod.
I don't want to start on the recording just yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we open with our usual, like, kind of last time on stuff, right?
Yeah.
And in there is that clip of Six and Hilo when he meets her at the very beginning of his stay on Caprica.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded, why did Six kiss him in the first place?
Because she's fucking weird.
Yeah. That's not a thing that gets resolved.
I don't think it comes up ever.
Okay.
It might get, there might be an allusion to it later that I'm not recalling.
Okay.
But like, I definitely don't remember it ever being a thing.
Okay. They just brought it back up because it's a provocative scene here in the last time ons, but I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Why did that happen?
Yeah.
Such a weirdo.
It is. Yeah, it's those clips. It's all just about getting you engaged, much more
Yes.
so than anything else. Like sometimes, like I think was it last episode there was like this really dramatic one of like someone like moving their hand around a board or something that looked
Mhm.
like something was happening, but it ended up just being like the first scene of the episode, and it was not a thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's, and, anytime our hypersexualized Cylon comes on, that's to get the audience's attention,
Yeah.
right? So let's just start this off with reminding everybody about Hilo's whole thing. And there's a little bit of the like Six and Hilo confusion in this episode.
Yeah,
So
I think you need to
yeah,
show Hilo encountering a Six, and if you need to show Hilo encountering a Six, that's the scene you use.
that's the encounter. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that caught me even before we got into the episode.
okay, well, when we get into this episode, we open on a recording of Pod Save the Colonies,
Ugh.
and they just aren't having it with unelected Rosalind's dictatorship, only putting deep state cronies and sycophants in the Quorum of 12. They're really sick of it, these unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah. I called these guys the McLaughlin group after a beloved bit on a different podcast, but I do like
That's
Pod
fair.
Save the Colonies. I mean, I guess McLaughlin group is kind of like the origin of this sort of thing, but we have just like
Yeah.
taken it to a whole new extreme in this current world we live in, and I hate it. I hate them all, even these guys.
We hear that Zarek is going to represent Sagittarion, and
Yeah.
Adama immediately calls to be all like, "You want me to put him on the no-fly list?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got timing. Adama does. Like you could tell
Yeah.
all 45-ish thousand of us are listening to the same broadcast at the same time. Like we are
Yeah.
on
Well, there's only
this
one
button.
broadcast, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like how many people are actually like broadcasting professionals in the fleet? Like this is a time before YouTube and social media. So
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I have a good judge for how many people in the fleet have jobs that
yeah.
are like required.
Hmm. That's a
Like I'm
good
sure
point.
people are learning stuff.
Hmm.
But if you were like, you know, an anthropologist before and now you're just stuck on a ship,
Hmm.
like I mean, you'll find stuff to do, though there will be times when your expertise will be needed, but
Hmm.
it's probably not an everyday gig.
Yeah, it's probably more like we need your physical labor of some kind. Or, if you have that anthropology intellectual skill, like there's probably a bunch of children running around
Yeah.
that we need to have some sort of system to keep them learning.
Yeah.
But
Got to
your main
educate
skill
these kids
probably getting repurposed a little bit.
for sure.
Yeah.
Uh
Well, I really appreciated the listener. I believe it might have been Dominion Media Television that put up a map or theoretical maps of
yes.
the colonies because I was picturing something much, much more diverse in scale. So, like bringing them all into the same set of nearby stars made a
Mhm.
lot more sense than what I was picturing of these colonies. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
what I pictured makes more actual science sense. Uh,
possibly.
but story sense, this makes a lot more sense.
I mean, the double binary systems is a
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the four
This
body problem, right? Like whole thing.
the
So,
science is rough out there, but I was picturing, like I don't know.
it seems like some of these planets are habitated very close to the sun or very far from the
Uh-huh.
sun as well.
Yeah.
Not good times.
Maybe that would come up, right? Like if you live on one of the colonies that's closer to the sun and you have a hard time with like crops and stuff and you're jealous of the other colonies or
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, Leonis looked like a straight up Mercury.
yeah.
Like,
You could have some interesting conflicts between colonies with that.
so Rosalind tells Adama that she doesn't want him to be her personal goon squad. Zarek gets on the horn here to let the oppressed know he's coming to drain the swamp. All the while, this opening sequence, we see somebody packing up a gun to theme.
Yeah, Zarek is sounding rather populist here.
Yeah, sure is.
Uh, but one of Rosalind's like reasons for we can't try to stand in front of him is, he's not doing anything illegal, even though he was a convicted felon on Sagittarion. That is an actual thing. You can still run for politics or for a
Yeah.
political position after you've served your time.
Yeah, they let felons vote. Released felons. Ex felons. Do you ever become an ex felon? I think it's felon just sticks around as a title for forever. I don't know.
Eh.
Anyways, we got back over to the Galactica where Starbuck is filling Gaius in on his new career in politics. He's
Question.
going to be. Yes.
Sorry. Gaius is back on his testing bullshit when Starbuck goes to see him.
Yeah.
We know that Gaius has changed the test so that everybody passes so he doesn't have to deal with anything uncomfortable because that would be the worst, right?
Yeah.
So why doesn't he also be like, oh, I just found an improvement and the test goes faster and they're all done?
I'm I'm sure he's waiting another couple of weeks for
Okay.
that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I had a breakthrough. I can do them in 15 minutes now. Oh, I had another breakthrough. I can do two at a time now. And
Uh-huh.
just like continually work his way down until everyone passes.
Yeah.
But also like real talk, I would think Gaius wouldn't do that. I think he would rather toil away and let everyone always pass because the more people that he tests that don't end up being, or the less overall sample size he has, right?
Uh-huh.
If he only ever completes 200 tests, right? Or whatever,
Hmm.
then he only has to worry about being wrong those 200 times. Because if he does end up being wrong and it matters, that's his ass, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I think the headcanon I can get with this is that he wants to know. He wants to actually know. Like the test is going to show everybody passes, but he wants to personally himself have an idea of who he needs to keep an eye on.
maybe
Yeah.
he might not want to know.
I mean, I don't know that I would at that point. If I had like made that decision, if I was in Gaius' shoes and I had the thing and it worked and I had chosen to not deal with this, I'm not sure I would want to know.
Honestly, like I would have let Sharon walk out of the room and then fucking turned her over
I
immediately.
mean, yeah, I would have too.
Yeah, like, oh, she's been out of here for 15 minutes. Okay. Well, let me go walk up to the bridge and make sure I'm surrounded by security and make sure that she's nowhere around.
Hmm.
And be all like, piss, 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 piss. Adam, I don't know why Adam is a cat. I figured it out.
We've got 12 models of Cylon and one model of cat.
Adama looks like the type where if you were to set a mug on his big console in CIC, that he would slowly push it until it fell off.
Yeah,
I
right.
would watch Edward James Olmos do that for hours.
Yeah, me too. He's so engaging. Ooh, we should do a cold open where we figure out who's a cat person and who's not on Galactica.
Is it Cylon or is it Cat?
I feel like Adama secretly loves a cat. I feel like
Same.
he pretends like the cat is an inconvenience and it is not his cat, but it's his cat.
100%.
Yeah.
So when Gaius is getting informed that he's going to be representing Caprica in the Quorum 12 here, we get this shot of him like talking to 6PT, but she's in the mirror. Love it. Love
Oh,
this
I
shot. It's
didn't notice
so
that.
good. This is one of my favorite like cinematography tricks ever, is like the conversation where one person's in focus and the other person is
Yeah.
technically out of frame, but you see them in a reflection.
Yeah.
This is this goes back, I think, to Hitchcock. I don't,
Surely. Yeah.
I'm sure maybe someone did it before, but that's one of the examples that pops up in my head. The thing that like, it's like, this is such a stupid fanboy answer, but the thing, like, whenever I think of this technique, the example of it that always pops into my mind as the most prevalent is from Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And there is a scene where Steve Rogers and Black Widow are, I think, are they looking over Bucky or someone? There's like someone in like a surgery room and they're like standing at the window looking in. I forget who's in there, but she's like, whenever she lies to him, it's, we see her as a reflection, and whenever she tells the truth, we see her in focus, like as a person, like the camera
Yeah.
cuts. And it's so fucking good. It's such a good fucking scene because it tells you everything you need to know without saying it out loud. It's just so perfectly visually communicated. Fucking A plus. That movie is probably the best MCU movie, IMO.
Hmm.
At the very least, it's the most well made. That's
Yeah,
a
I
hell of a
love
die on.
stuff like that. I love when we do something with the visuals that means something else than just a shot, just a picture,
Yeah.
you know? I can't believe the idiots of Caprica have picked Gaius Baltar, but here we are. And I love that he starts out like hating this, a lot of intellectuals would, like, oh
Yeah.
no, I have to go
Politics.
do things that aren't my research. Oh. And then 6PT starts pointing out the advantages, namely the ladies.
Yeah. Gonna be a rager.
Yeah. So suddenly he's like, huh, maybe I can be in politics.
Yeah, figure it out. Over on Cloud 9, we get it's now repaired after the initial Cylons attacks damaged the biodome.
And remember, here at Biodome, we're dependent on balancing homos within the system.
Kara and Lee talk the plot while our gunman gets through security, and we finally see them, and it is not a known quality. Like, they've been really hiding this person's face.
Yeah.
And my question to you was, were you expecting this to be a, like, Sharon or a Doral or something?
No, I wasn't thinking that this would be anybody that we knew. I was thinking,
Okay.
that we're kind of alluding to like the unrest is getting bigger, and so we're introducing a new piece.
Now, I mean, you've seen the episode. We know that the gunman here dies, right?
Uh-huh.
Just skipping ahead. Do you think, and it's never really explained, right? It's kind of left open. Do you think it is more interesting if they are a human or a Cylon?
I think it's more interesting if they're a human, because we're introducing that idea that humans are not a unified of one mind on this whole deal. Like, yeah, maybe we're of one mind about like, gotta keep running, but we're not of one mind on how to do that, who should be in charge of that, what the best way to be running is, which I think is exactly how humans would be. Like, we can't be unified for very long on a thing, in my experience.
Yeah.
So I think it's more interesting if this is a human and we're seeing some of the breakdown in the initial, like, pulling ourselves together, gonna put on a united front, and now all of that is starting to fray as time wears on.
Yeah, it's been like 6 weeks and we're already never forgetting
Yeah.
and forgetting.
I think if you just make it this person was a Cylon, it's more like, oh, well, we're making them dangerous because they're still here and they're around. And I just don't find that as interesting as like the actual internal workings of this society at this point.
Zarek arrives and instantly gets someone on his case, which gets someone on that person's case, which gets Lee on that person's case.
Yeah. We're just ramping up how controversial Zarek is. Like, some of these other colonists are not happy he's here. Lee has been plugged into the social media the whole time, so he's on like high alert for everything. Starbuck is a bit more cynical about all of this.
It had real Canadians in South Park energy.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
Yeah.
We get to the reception line, and Saul refuses to shake Zarek's hand, but Ellen does, causing a small scene, as Saul isn't pleased to be pictured with a terrorist. But Ellen's just all like, just trust me, we're going to be all over the papers. Like, this is good for your future.
So, like, I do think that Ellen was right to shake his hand. She is doing it for all the wrong reasons. Rosalind clearly wants to, like, put on a good faith show of dealing with Zarek. And so doing the handshake, being the upstanding colonel's wife is a good thing to do. But she is clearly not doing that. She's a little too kind, and I will not be surprised if she is boning Tom Zarek by the end of season 2 or whatever. She doesn't have much time left in season 1.
Fair enough.
But boy, I do not like any of this one little bit.
Yeah. Rosalind's all like waiting for Zarek to roll up. He rolls up and he's all like, if I were to offer you my hand, would you shake it? And she's all like, only one way to find out, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make you offer. And then she accepts and he's just all like, oh, outplayed again.
I think she's right to do it. I think this is a good play, all of it. I just don't like this man.
Like, obviously, Like, I can't pretend that my opinion of Tom Zarek on this watch through isn't going to be colored by current political events
Right.
and characters.
Some of this rhetoric is a little too close to home. Right.
For sure. In fact, some of the rhetoric is almost prophetic. Once again, good job, I guess.
Right, right. I'm sure Ronald D. Moore and JMS are both sitting there like, well, okay.
Well, I'm sure Ron Moore is like, well, okay. I'm sure JMS is like, I warned you, motherfuckers.
That's true. That's true.
You should have listened to me.
We didn't listen!
Not enough people were
Thanks.
watching Babylon 5, clearly.
If more people had watched Babylon 5, maybe we wouldn't be in this political situation right now.
I mean, maybe, but I've also seen people take the wrong lessons from Babylon 5.
Yeah.
They're off to start a very long meeting, and she basically
Yeah.
says, this will be a very long meeting. And Gaius is already being rude and bored.
Yeah. There's boring politics as Gaius completely ignores them to deal with ethical non-monogamy with ghosts or hallucinations.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna Google search for it, but I have to imagine that there's already a podcast better equipped to handle this than us.
Yeah.
Maybe a Polyricians,
I get it.
Spectre Swingers,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe some Fae fucking. I don't know.
Oh, God,
Listener,
please no.
get into Discord with your best podcast names so somebody else can run with it.
Yeah. Put that out into the world. Make it happen.
Right. Yeah. Will it into existence if you want to, or make your own fucking podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked out really well for my life. So
Free
highly recommended.
idea for you. Good luck. Find your
Yeah.
people.
Good luck. Find your
Yeah,
people.
no, she wants him to go pester the hot lady reporter, I guess. So 6PT's like waking him up to be like, remember that sex is a thing.
Zarek is like, we've got this giant list of shit to do, but fuck all that. We need a vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltar like wakes up to second as 6PT yells at him to do so.
Yeah. Weird.
The quorum agrees and they begin nominating vice presidential candidates. Vergon nominates Zarek, and then the session adjourns for 72 hours.
Yeah, no, Vergon nominated Zarek and then Geminon seconded. And so that tells you like, oh, these two colonies, they might also be having issues like Sagittarion. Oh,
Yeah.
all very Game of Thronesy, like our alliances. And
He's very quick to get nominated, and then all of the important shit that they had to do now does not matter because one of them has to be vice president first.
yeah, for the next 72 hours, we're just going to put all that big long list on hold. Yeah.
Yep. God, so fucking dumb.
So
I know, like, you
fucking
like
dumb.
adjourn so that you can continue the story, right?
Mhm.
But really, what it should be is Laura's like, okay, well, we're going to set that aside while we do other nominations and everyone figures out their shit. Why don't we talk about educating our children now?
Yeah.
One of the things that everyone said was important before we did this,
Right.
before we made it about fucking us. Fucking politicians.
I hate this guy. I'm not into it. And neither are they into it on Colonial One. They just go back to their ship and hate on Zarek and look for another candidate. And again, I don't think we've seen Wally before, but Rosalind presses him. This is the guy now.
Yep.
Widening
Wally's
the
gonna
circle.
be VP. He's been so crucial that we haven't met him.
Right, right.
He's kept the fleet running single-handedly, but also we never knew his name or saw him or heard anyone reference him.
He's a real like Mac and Bo.
Yeah. It's like I have to I don't remember what it was like the first time I watched this, but I have to imagine it's all like, oh, weird that we haven't met this super important guy. Wonder if he's going to make it to vice president instead of the character that they've been building up to.
You know what? I really want, now that I said those words, a Battlestar Galactica Mac and Bo episode, and I don't know that I'm going to get it. But God, that would be so fun.
no spoilers.
Just two dudes who are in charge of like cleaning the toilets on Battlestar Galactica or something. Just all the shit going down around them while they just try to do their jobs. Give me that. That's what I need.
But anyways, yeah, Wallace Gray here accepts after Rosalind really puts the screws to him about it.
Uh-huh.
He really did not want this job. So much so that when he's upset about it later in the episode, it's hard to believe.
Well, it's one of those things, like, if you've accepted it and then it's like wrenched back away from you, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But Zarek is still courting the press. He's
Yeah.
like every host of Pod Save the Colonies. He's looking to get their time.
Yeah. He's talking, he pulls out his little red book to talk about the shackles of capital without a wage and what that actually means. I think he would be more interesting at this point if he had just come out and said, you're effectively slaves.
Yeah.
If you have no self-determination, you're stuck in one place and you're working a job for no wage.
I mean, the thing about this is context, right? Like, we have been fighting for our lives. Maybe not 50% of the time. I forget what day we're on. Oh, we're on day 47. There it is in my notes.
Yep.
But fighting for our lives a good percentage of the time, more than an average person usually has to fight for their lives, right? So his "you're all slaves" is like, well, maybe some people are just doing their job because it's like cool to have some normalcy. Like, it feels good right now. And we'll figure the other stuff out. Like, that's why we're here. We're to figure this stuff out. Like, don't freak out, guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to wonder if, like, I don't know, if Richard Hatch wasn't playing this character, if they had cast someone, maybe with a different set of chops, or I wonder if there's a way for these words to not feel slimy and to feel more appealing.
Genuine.
But
yeah.
And if coming from someone else that might be the case. But I think with the background that we've got, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. It feels sinister, even
Yeah.
though he's ostensibly like trying to fight for the people. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. Lee tries to relax, but gets into a bar/shared space, and it leads into a squabble over what should be on the radio or TV. At least they're handling this between the two of them instead of making some poor member of the wait staff constantly change the TV from one football game to another.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever been present for something like that happening around you in a bar, but man. Whew.
Yeah, no, I was picturing like the Fox News / CNBC debate of, somebody coming in and being angry about one and or the other. I mean, that's what this is, but I've never had to sit through somebody actually hectoring the wait staff about it. Thank God. Yeah, so the Sagittarian guy, who was one of the guys involved in the earlier Zarek incident, is back with his friends. He clocks Lee with a bottle. And then Starbuck, even though she's still limping around on her cane, she holds her own, and she sees the gun fall out of the other guy's briefcase, who seems to be unrelated to these folks, right? He's just like doing having his own cappuccino.
Well, he did interact with them earlier, though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, there was a slight interaction with them where they were chatting or something in one of the common spaces where Lee was around when he got into shit with the guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't see them interact, but it's hard to catch everything.
It's very quick.
Yeah, when I'm taking the notes. But yeah, Spuck's caught him and gets a hold of the gun and points it right at him.
She does kick Lee a bottle here so that he can win his fight too.
Yeah, she's like hobbling over on her crutch. She's like, here, you take care of that.
Yeah.
Super fun.
We cut over to Caprica Yellow.
Day 47.
Hilo and Sharon, they've made it to Delphi, they say, instead of Delphi. Hilo comes so close to realizing they're humanoid Cylons.
So close.
He's like, maybe they're just clones grown by the Cylons.
Yeah.
And Sharon's all like, maybe they're not just human allies. Maybe they have regrets about their participation in genocide. Maybe they have advanced emotional feelings and those are complicated and they regret what they've done. And he was all like, no, all that's dumb. You're dumb. That's dumb. No, all Cylons are evil. Stop.
Uh-huh. Yes. This is especially awkward given our hypothesizing in the previous episodes about human Cylon reproductive interactions because Sharon has stopped feeling
Just so
sick and now
hungry.
she's hungry. And yeah, that feels like a familiar thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they call it
Remember
eating
that.
for two.
Weird.
Yeah.
Back on, is this on Cloud 9? This is on Battlestar Galactica, isn't
This is on Cloud 9.
where we're questioning the prisoner?
Yeah, they don't take him off.
Okay. I thought maybe they took him to Galactica.
It's an important
Either one makes
story
sense.
beat that he stays on Cloud 9.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I could see what I had in my head has happening on either place. So,
It matters for when he gets killed.
yeah, but I don't know. Okay.
It matters
All right.
for who else is around on what
Okay,
ships
yes.
when he gets killed.
So, this guy had every Rosalind appearance marked in his little notebook.
Yeah, he's just a fan.
Yeah, but no, that's not his book. That's his buddy's book or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. He tries to claim it's not his, or
Something.
I don't know. He
yeah.
probably says many things. Lee is very bad cop, which is not how I would have pictured this scene going down. So that's fun.
Yeah, it almost feels lazy, but they're very bad cop here, and he's just like, he's got the gun from the bar fight, and they're just all like, "It's 3 a.m. Do you know where your law is?"
Yeah, Spuck says that Grimes gave him up. I don't know who Grimes is.
I don't know, one of the other goons.
Yeah, other than our context for Grimes, which I don't want to think about either. But there's no more due process. And he tries to claim he was just here for the booze and the food,
Yeah,
which weren't we talking about rations in the beginning of this episode?
I believe they have a need to ration. Yeah, but I mean, it's a
Yeah.
political event, so no rations there.
No rations for booze and food there. Weird.
Man, it's almost like people who have to make decisions that impact other people's lives should, have to know what's going on in other people's lives.
Yeah, Lee wants Zarek sent home, but Rosalind's not going to violate his civil rights and play into his hands, which I still think is smart.
Yeah, just gonna martyr his ass that way.
Mm-hmm.
Rosalind wants Lee to follow him, though. Follow
Yeah.
Zarek around.
Surveil.
Yeah. I want you to just surveil and monitor his every move, and if he says anything about trying to kill me, take him out. But don't infringe on his civil liberties, bruh.
Yeah.
Just
Not until he's
surveil the
about to
shit out of
infringe
him.
on mine.
Yeah, just surveil the shit out of him, because that's not infringing. Because this is Patriot Act America.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we move over to Quorum here, where Wally is making his case for VP, while Lee offers a soft threat as we cut over to Ellen talking with Tom Zarek. Zarek wants information on Valance, who Lee was having held, which leads to Lee and Starbuck going to check on him, and they find him dead.
Just wild. Yeah. I guess they do tell us that because his wrists are cuffed, but they're also slit, right?
Yeah.
And there's some kind of vent, perhaps.
Yeah.
that-
Somebody
somebody got in
a
through-
vent. Yeah.
Because there were guards on the doors, like outside.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't there a guard inside?
That'd be too convenient for the story.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was, you just kill the guard too.
You just killed a guard too,
Yeah,
right? I don't
but-
know. But then it's obvious that he didn't slit his own wrist.
Yeah. You want the
'Cause
question
that's-
of it.
Right. I mean, that's the first thing I wrote down. Oh no, did he, not have the cyanide tooth or whatever, and so this was the best thing he could do, or did somebody do this to him?
While Ty, Lee, and Starbuck discuss with the president, she's listening to Gaius on Pod Saves the Colonies, who gives a very convincing speech that causes Rosalind to dump Gary, who his name's not Gary, it's Gray, who does not take it well for someone who 24 hours ago had to be forced into accepting this job.
Yeah. Yeah. He was really reluctant, but now I guess he's like talked himself into it. Like, yeah, I'm the guy for the job. This is the thing that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
She gives him the old good line of step aside for health reasons. And yeah, he gives her a really backhanded compliment. He never saw her as one of the backstabby
Yeah.
other politicians, and I was wrong or something. And ouch.
Mm-hmm. After this, Rosalind tracks Baltar down in just an opulent men's room.
Uh-huh.
Just like the nicest men's room I've ever seen.
The second we go into this men's room, I'm like, he's not here alone.
Oh, for sure. Like the way that like the camera frames everything, it tells you that. 100%. Very well
There's the
done.
little flush of like he was finishing up something, but I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
nope, that's not what's happening. She gives him a nice compliment on his speech, asks him if he's voting for Zarek, and he's like, of course not.
Yeah. Which is what he'd
I'm
say to
voting
her
for
anyways,
Wally.
but yeah.
But she says that Wally's stepping aside, and she asks him to be her vice president.
Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, I said you were going to hit a moment in an episode where I thought you were going to text me as soon as you hit it. This was that
Oh,
moment.
is this it?
This was it. Yeah.
Well, the problem is Zarek was actually pretty odious right before this. So I was like, man, I don't like Gaius Baltar. We all know that. But I was like, lesser of two evils, maybe? I don't know. Except that Baltar can always get worse.
Yep.
And of course, he goes back to giving the reporter an exclusive in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
He's been promoted.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I've got questions here. Like, security is posted all around, right? Like, this is clearly a like private bathroom for all intents and purposes.
Uh-huh.
Why are you limiting yourself to a stall?
It all sounds unpleasant to me.
Yeah, I'm not interested in any of it.
These people are all younger and more athletic than me, so.
Amen.
So Starbuck and Lee are discussing the situation, and they have some banter re Starbuck's hygiene, like her uniform isn't clean.
Yeah, she doesn't clean up nice. Is the line.
She hasn't cleaned this uniform from the fight or something.
Yeah.
And we go back to the vote,
Mm-hmm.
and it's shifting towards Gaius.
Yeah. Comes down to one vote, and if there's a tie, then Rosalind is the tiebreaker. And instead of showing us the last vote and the tiebreaker, we cut over to the celebration of new vice president, Gaius Baltar. I like this much better than showing us the boring political stuff.
I wrote in my notes, it's almost a tiebreaker, but psych, it's Gaius. But did it go to the tiebreaker, or it didn't have to go to the tiebreaker?
It had to go
I
to
want
the
to confirm
tiebreaker.
It did have to go to the tiebreaker?
It was 6-5 Tom Zarek, one vote left to read, and if it's a tie, Rosalind gets to pick. There's 12 colonies, so there was only one vote left.
Right.
So it had to have been 6-6, which would then cause the tiebreaker vote.
You know what it is, though? It's 6BT is the vice president. Because every time she yells something at Gaius in a scary voice, he does it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine what it'd be like having someone, just standing over your executive leader, just shouting at them, making sure they did whatever you said, just, completely in charge of the situation, clearly, whenever they're both in the same room, but they're not an elected official. That'd drive me crazy, personally.
That would be a wild world to live in, wouldn't it?
Can't imagine.
I just don't even know.
Yeah.
So weird. Anyway, now we know why we're talking about hygiene, because Starbuck gets cleaned up in a real nice little dress.
Yeah. This is definitely at Lee in the comments.
He is flabbergasted, and this is where I wrote "just kiss" in my notes.
But yeah, Zarek tells Rosalind he'll see her again at the election. And also he didn't kill Valance, so someone else is around that wants her dead, is how that's kind of left open.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not just that he didn't kill Valance and, oh, it must be somebody else that wants you dead. It's like, I didn't kill Valance, but that doesn't mean he wasn't my guy to me. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, he wonders who did. Like, it's so threatening. It's like, I have things going on that you have no idea.
We see a bunch of people dancing. We see Billy and Dee dance. We see Saul and Ellen dance. We see Starbuck and Baltar dancing. And even Bill and Laura.
Yeah, Adama shows up because he's a real patriot, and this is Colonial Day.
Yeah, it's the anniversary of the end of the first Cylon War.
Oh. Yeah, that must feel weird celebrating that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else it could be. They don't tell us what it is except that it's the 52nd Colonial Day, so...
Yeah, so it can't be like this is us founding the colonies, because that wasn't just 50 years ago.
I don't think so.
It doesn't seem implied anyway. It seems like the colonies have been around much longer than that.
Yeah, I think you'd say that.
Well, yeah, because Caprica is a prequel, right?
Yeah, and I think it's set 60 years, so...
Before the first Cylon War?
60 years
Or-
before the start of Battlestar, I think. It's something like that.
But still, it's before the first Cylon War, but not by much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to point out that Adama feels about Baltar like I feel about Baltar.
Yeah.
But, it's nice that she admits that, yeah, it is the devil I know, and I would rather do that right now. I hate Ellen Ty
Yeah,
as they're dancing and having this conversation.
me too. She's the worst.
She's the worst. Maybe the only person I hate more than Baltar.
Oh, for sure. She's the
Yeah.
person that I hate the most on this show, just because she's like such a force of evil, like actual evil. Like even the Cylons, I'm like I'm not pro genocide here, but like you were like an oppressed people. Like it's definitely a more complicated issue than
Sure,
saying that they
yeah.
are directly like what they do is reprehensible and evil. Like for sure. But their motives are more nuanced than Ellen's is all that I'm saying.
Right. Ellen is like, chaos is a ladder. I want power, and I'm going to be doing everything I can to knock other people down so I can climb on top of them.
Yeah.
And I do not like it. You know what I just realized we could do, though, for a cold open?
What?
We could do some alignments.
We could do some
And-
alignments.
That would be a thing that, like, we're just doing it as I know it at this point.
Yeah.
And, if somebody's a Cylon later, that's extra fun.
Okay, we can give that a go.
Yeah, just a thought.
So yeah, Ellen straight Grima Worm Tongue and Saul here about a day off to go meet with folks about their future on this luxury liner. Then we cut over to Caprica Blue, where
Oh, yeah.
Sharon and Hilo play Metal Gear Solid when Hilo sees 2 6s and another Sharon. He
Yeah.
fucking finally puts it all together.
Yeah. We were running out of time. So good penultimate shot there. I mean, I know this isn't the penultimate episode, but because the next two are a two-parter, I'm kind of
Yeah.
considering it like that. But yeah, Hilo's finally seeing the light. And Sharon shoots the other Sharon. Like our Sharon that we've been with this whole time
Mm-hmm.
shoots new Sharon. But Hilo has put it together and does not trust the Sharon he's been with this whole time now, because that's a massive deception that has been revealed, right? And he runs away to credits.
Yep. That's the episode.
I am really nervous for the next two episodes now.
Have you watched either of them yet?
I have not, but I'll do it. I promise.
Yeah.
especially, you and others have really hyped up the season 1 finale as being a bit dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
And this was dramatic. And I'm like, oh God, am I going to need to have some CBD before I go watch this? But I really am ready for things to get answered. I want Hilo and Sharon to wrap up. I want Hilo to get where he's going. And I'm hoping there's actually some kind of a reveal, maybe a Cylon. Because we already know about Sharon. I don't know. Got a lot of concerns and expectations for this one.
I'm excited to rewatch it. I haven't watched this finale in a long time. I remember really liking it, and it's been hyped up a bit, so I'm excited to watch it again.
And the title is certainly dramatic. Cobal's Last Gleaming for both parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that episode in a second, but before we do, we should probably rate this one.
Yeah, I guess we should.
On a scale of the quorum of 12, how are you feeling on this one?
I already gave out my fuck this episode.
I mean, there's no rules. Or rather, any rules that do exist, we make, so fuck them. Do what you want.
It's good. It doesn't make me feel as, bad as the one did. Oh, what was that one? As Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
Because there was a lot of, hijinks and awkwardness in that one. But it also feels so real. And I'm like, ugh.
I wonder if we were doing this a year ago, how different it would feel.
Yeah. Or 2 years ago. Because last year had the election anxiety in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. I think that if I wasn't living in this timeline, I would feel differently. But it is very good. I don't know that I've rated anything under a 10.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where I'm at on this one. It's quite good, but the uncomfortableness I have to acknowledge. So what about you?
I also went with 10 on this one.
Yeah.
It just
this is a
seems
strong
appropriate.
season.
Yeah, it's a very strong season.
It's a strong start to a show. I am just so excited to watch more. The only apprehension I have is because it's so good. Because it's so well written and it makes me feel things I don't want to feel.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. So give me some teaser for the next one.
Yeah, we've got season 1, episode 12, Cobal's Last Gleaming, part 1. Colonial raptors locate the planet Cobal, legendary birthplace of man. Laura and Adama battle over the benefits and dangers of unlocking Cobal's ancient mysteries.
Oh. I didn't really expect that. I figured Cobal would just be kind of, some of that mythos, but we were never actually going to explore that. Okay. All right. I guess we're going.
And we going there next episode. But before we get there, we have to say thank you. Hey, Jeremy Siegel, jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com. Appreciate the hell out of you, buddy. Thanks so much for our theme music. You can find more of Jeremy's work on streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork.
Hey, Aaron. Whew. Gave you a doozy. But appreciate the hell out of you. Thanks so much for putting it together.
And thank you to you, the listener, for being here with me as I get so many things wrong on this show. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy you're here with me. Discord. We got to plug the Discord.
Oh, yeah, there's a Discord. Rate the podcast. I haven't looked at that in a minute, actually. We'll see you next week, Internet.
Bye.